Best friends, social trends, and occasional murder. From the first blush of romance to the last squeeze of the trigger, a killer comedy. This is the Cult Faction Podcast, episode 68, Spotlight on Heathers.
Superman.
I always forget to adjust the volume on that one.
I don't mind. It's when it turns up in the next series of Stranger Things, then you know you made it. Hello and welcome to the Cult Faction Podcast, episode 68, where we have a spotlight on Heathers. That's right, we're continuing our summer teen
Odyssey.
Random mix Odyssey. where every week we focus on a cult classic that ties in with that genre. There aren't that many, so there's only a few more shows left.
We can get through this.
Yeah. I am Paul Hawkins, and as ever, and I'm going to carry on saying that, I am joined by
Brett Summers
and
Damien Hicks.
And this week, it's a bit of a change for the Cult Faction Podcast. Because,
We are making history.
as they say in the biz, we're doing an OB, an outside broadcast. Yeah, we are outside because it's so hot inside the studio.
and we would like to just dedicate this episode to the master of outside broadcasting, Keith Chegwin.
Yeah. God bless you, Keith. Yeah, so we've got
We'll have a
candles.
vodka on you.
We've got candles outside.
Still too soon.
We're all in shorts. It's almost like
There are flames around us.
is it like a Kon-Tiki bar or whatever
I don't know,
they're
yeah.
called
Tom
out?
Cruise will be serving us
Isn't it
drinks
just
in a
tiki
minute.
bar? I don't know what con tiki is.
Is that the
He's poshing us.
Yeah.
is that the little boat that they have
I
out in
don't know.
Hawaii?
I don't
Anyway,
know what con tiki is.
I
know a good
Anyone
tiki
let
bar.
us know. Write in to cultfaction@mail.com.
or I could Dr. Google it when I'm not doing some talking in a bit. Yeah, so we're outside. We are hopefully not going to get too bitten by mosquitoes, but we do have some big old...
Citronella lanterns.
Yeah, because I almost said Listerella, which is cross between Listerine and Salmonella.
And we do look we're in some sort of Hawaii tribal thing.
Yeah.
So,
Well, we've got a bar just across the way there.
yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, cool. A bit of a different
It's all
vibe
happening.
tonight. Yeah. You're
it's-
more than welcome to join us.
And it's a lot cooler.
But it's a recording, so by the time you get here, we won't be. So, as always, we will come onto the spotlight in a bit, but let's go round a little bit of a chit-chat about anything interesting that we might have done. If not, then just skip and go on to what we've been watching. So, any key points, anything amazing that anyone's got up to over the last week? No.
Yeah.
Oh.
I've been kayaking.
Oh, you were a bit hesitant about this, but was it fun?
Do you know what?
Kayaking.
It was good.
See, I told you.
Shit.
Yeah. Didn't have to do the Eskimo roll. That
Yeah.
was what was worrying me, that I'd have to do an Eskimo roll. None of that malarkey. Literally just pootled up the Beauty River and pootled back down again. 3 hours up, 3 hours back down again.
Messing around on the
Yeah.
river.
Did
That's
you
cool.
did you have the little banjo theme from the Deliverance in your head? All
Sometimes
the
it did feel a bit like that because we went into like
Western Shore.
out of the river bit and into the marshy bit. But yeah, it was cool. And then after that, after lunch, we did laser paintball. It's called Laser Quest, but that makes it sound like it's an indoor kids thing. It's not. It's like paintball,
You
but
don't have to justify it, Damien.
it was.
Everyone likes Laser Quest.
Yeah,
It's
but
alright.
it wasn't really Laser Quest or Laser Tag. It wasn't that. It's like, and I'm distinctly average.
Was that the official? Did that one
That's
infringe?
that's what I've called myself. I'd say
Oh.
when the stats came back, so there was, I think 8 of us, maybe 9, even 10. I can't remember. 10, 8 or 9. No, it was only 8 because we're teams of 4. There was 8 of us, 2 teams. I was not in the top echelons of hits fired, shot ratio, any of that malarkey, but I wasn't bottom either. So I'm happy with distinctly average.
Distinctly
It didn't help, I thought I'd found the perfect foxhole to hide in and just pick people off as they run into the one of the missions was to rescue some downed soldiers. It was like like you see on Dad's Army, where they're stabbing the potato sack soldiers. It was things that they had to rescue those. And my thinking was they have to come this way. No, but that was what we were using. It. They were the soldiers, and I thought I'd found the perfect foxhole. That was they have to come past me to get to the soldiers. They didn't. There was another route to get there, but I was like a good 5 minutes. Like, yeah, I'm ready for these. They're going to pit them off one by one. It dawned on me after about 3 or 4 minutes. No one's coming past it.
So, was it more that your success due to the fact that you were on the wrong bit of the course?
Exactly. Yeah, that's why I didn't get shot that many times.
And there's no need to feel embarrassed about.
I wasn't embarrassed
because if it's good enough to Barney Stinson, it's good enough for us.
I was happy. It was good fun. My legs are feeling it today though. So this was Tuesday. Yeah. And I'm really feeling it today.
Not as bad as paintballing for my 30th birthday.
It's actually more enjoyable than paintball, and it's not such a rip-off because you haven't got to buy paintballs. Your gun just reloads. Well, you've got to press a button to reload your magazine. It's brilliant.
Although you also don't have the joy of hurting someone with paintballs.
There is that.
Although next year it will cost £200 to recharge your gun.
Yeah, that's it. They send you the bill afterwards. You realise every time you've hit that button, it's cost you £50.
That sounds cool. No, I've been...
Maybe we should do it as a group, a cult faction outing.
Yeah, you too could win a place in it that you pay for yourself.
Yeah.
Sponsor us.
Sponsor us to go Laser Quest.
Go fund us. We'll film it and everything. No, so I've just been jiu-jitsuing a bit this week, and it's been very, very hot.
Yeah.
And sweaty. And yeah, that's about it, really.
I've just been working. Nothing exciting there. Although for any people that I work with, obviously it's really exciting. Great company to be in, and great team to work with.
Cool. In case you're listening.
Okay, so let's cut to the chase then. Who wants to go first? So let's start with Summers, because you've been doing nothing all day apart from jiu-jitsu and watching telly.
Pretty much. School holidays are great. Right, I have finished now Star Trek Brave New World, which has been the new series which goes before Captain Kirk with Captain Pike. And overall, it's been a great series, I think. It's got a few episodes here and there that are a bit... wildlife.
The dogs agree.
A few episodes that are a bit... not as good, I think, because some of the episodes are so good. When there's a few run-of-the-mill ones, like run-of-the-mill Star Trek is run-of-the-mill Star Trek. Beam down to the planet. Oh,
could be.
Can't get back out again. We'll have to do something. We've done it. Yeah, it's all right, and it ends in a good way to set up the next one. There's some nice, clever bits, and then some sort of average Star Trek bits, but. It does what it says on the tin. I wasn't expecting my scientific world to be turned upside down and reinvented.
Okay, I must admit, I'm listening to you, but I'm more interested in the final episode of the actual new Star Trek that isn't Star Trek.
So that's almost... I'm listening,
Orville.
but just get to the point.
Okay. That too has been on.
I know. This is what... So, last week, to recap for people that haven't listened to last week... You watched the penultimate episode. Everything came to a conclusion in a nice way.
Yep.
You were wondering what the last episode was going to be. Well, is it going to set up another season?
They are very clever. It's a wedding. I don't want to give too much away because if you haven't seen it yet, then it might spoilers. But a familiar face returns that you haven't seen for a while. There are quite a few little callbacks to things across the episodes so far. And then it kind of leads with them, it ends with them sort of going back out into space, which is basically there to then pick up when the new series happens. # renew the Orville.
There's no word on that yet, is there?
Not yet. But I'm confident it will because it's
successful.
It's
no reason
successful.
not to,
it's smashed at the bits, and it's not on Warner Brothers. So anything HBO Warner at the moment.
Well, they could film a whole season and then not actually air it.
Yeah, I mean, Batgirl and that, man, they cancelled all that.
It's just ridiculous. You should still. Why don't you just put it out? I don't get that.
Well, I guess they're finally doing what we've been telling them to do for the last year.
Yeah, I understand that, but still, you've just
Spent the
make
money
some
on
of your
it,
money
yeah.
back.
Put it out as a
and the
special
people
Blu-ray or something.
put effort into making it. Anyway, tangent.
Yeah.
Right.
But
We're not here for
but The
tangents.
Orville is a really good series. If you're going to watch any of the new Star Treks, watch The Orville, which isn't the new Star Trek, but it's better.
Cool. Damien.
So I did watch what we talked about last week, and I've forgotten what it's called now. You said we should all check it out because it's got a major buzz.
So
Paper
Girls.
Girls. Oh, yeah, I watched that as well. But
I watched that too.
It wasn't great,
No.
but
I've only seen the first one so far.
so no, I've done the entire season. I can't remember how many there is. 8 of them. It's, to be honest, it's instantly forgettable.
Yeah.
But it wasn't bad. There's some really bad moments in it. The script is clunky. What they're trying to do, insofar as they're like 11, 12-year-old girls, so that it's not just about the sci-fi. It's about them dealing with, getting older. So there's stuff about one of the girls has to suddenly realise she needs to go and buy Tampax or tampons, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of
Other brands
it's
are
almost
available.
shoehorned in rather than feeling a
just
natural
part of it,
progression
yeah.
of the show, which
Doesn't help
makes
that
it
they're
feel
all like
clunky.
25 as
Yeah,
well.
but and there's there's an episode or a couple of episodes with these. They call them, I can't remember what they call them. It's basically weapons, but they're robots that they sit in.
Oh, like exosuit sort of thing.
Yeah, but much bigger than that. What like one of it is stored in a massive grain silo.
Oh, cool.
So
I haven't seen that
you're
bit
talking
yet.
massive, but it's almost doesn't quite fit just because it's just a bit random. But all in all, it wasn't bad, but it's kind of, as I said, it's instantly forgettable because I have pretty much forgotten everything about it.
Yeah.
We started watching it, and I think you said it last week, even though you hadn't seen it at this point. It was like they were trying to look for another Stranger Things.
I
It's
think
set in the
that's
80s.
why people have scoured through and gone,
Yeah.
this is like it, and that's...
And it's not. It's nowhere near as clever as that. But in the same token, there's some nice little ideas in there that could be expanded. Whether it's going to get a second season or not, I guess we don't know yet.
Yeah.
But it's one of those necessarily go out of your way to watch it. But in the same token, you probably wouldn't be annoyed if you had watched it. So when you watch something for an entire season and you think, why the fuck did I just watch that? I didn't feel like that. The only annoying thing for me was that it overlapped with Sandman, so I had to finish Paper
that's
Girls
why
before
I bummed it off. So
because I didn't want to get
I'd
bogged
been
down in that.
I'd been waiting 30 years for Sandman.
Exactly.
Well,
Yeah.
do we want to talk about this next then? 'Cause
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it, but
It's the
bear in
big-
mind I'm only 3 episodes in because of Paper Girls,
Okay.
and I have a
I
busy
mean,
schedule.
it's
with life.
currently the biggest show in the whole world. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all about Sandman at the moment, and
Yeah.
everywhere you go.
And there's also the reviews on the cultfaction.com website as well.
Yeah, which are all still trending.
So, for reference, I've not got to the diner yet.
Okay.
That's
Well-
where I am in the Sandman journey. I think we all know what we mean when we say the diner, so that's where I am.
Well, I won't give away too many spoilers anyway, because it has just dropped.
If you want the in-depth, well, even the reviews aren't too. They're more a brief summary of the episode, but then my thoughts on it. It doesn't. I try not to give away too many plot twists and turns.
I mean, don't be wrong, I know what happens anyway, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of want to see it for
Yeah,
myself.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
So what do you reckon then, Summers?
Um,
As I said, you've been waiting 30 years.
I was
There's been quite a bit of hype about it.
I was initially worried because everything looked good, but I was waiting for it to just screw up. And then there were worries about casting with, I was about to say Gwyneth Strong. Well, that's not her name. Lucifer. What's her name?
I don't know the name of the actor.
The one of Game of Thrones
yeah.
and Star Wars, yeah.
Captain Phasma. Oh, man. Gwyneth
Doesn't matter.
Strong. That's only Fool's Norses, isn't it? That's Rodney's, isn't it? Yeah, so Gerald. Oh,
Those
doesn't
weren't-
matter. It's not
those weren't
important.
our
Yeah.
concerns, though.
Yeah, but they were concerned because obviously the original Lucifer was basically Lucifer in the TV series Lucifer, but
Yeah.
they'd already took that character, so he's, it's good to have Neil Gaiman on board to sort of twist and turn things around because no one can go, well, that's not what the original writer wanted. Yes, it was. He was there.
Yeah.
Shut up. And there was and again, the racist comments about the casting of Death still shock me because I get that people might be upset, but you don't need to go there to be. You can be upset because it's not the character you initially thought it was, but for someone like that, it's not an integral part of the character. It's not like, Vince Vaughn isn't playing Nelson Mandela.
Yeah, I know.
It's not. Yeah. Sometimes I've moaned about things like that, but in this case, it's not one that's justified. And just some of the comments to the poor actress, who's hopefully thinking she's got the best role of her life, to then turn on social media and just get torrid abuse. Well, if you get to that point, you'll see that none of your comments were justified because she absolutely smashed it.
Yeah.
And got the character down, as did, I think, nearly everyone in the series, to be honest. Pleasantly surprised.
I think the casting of it was brilliant. Even down to Patton Oswalt.
Yeah,
in it. Yeah,
he was the
fantastic.
first one cast, apparently.
Yeah,
and I was more than happy with it. It, like most things, if it respects the source material, a few changes here and there you have to, because some people were moaning like in episode 1 because in the comic he was in the thing like 80 years and it's been 100 years now. It's like all they've done is just made it a bit longer to bring it up to the modern day.
Yeah.
Nothing has changed.
No.
It's just like he's just moved it a little bit on longer to fit today. But and again, Neil Gaiman was there and Neil said yes. So
screw you. It's his source material.
Yeah.
I know that. What it always winds me up. I've said it many times on this podcast. I'm not going to go down that route again.
Yeah. But everything was in place. It's done really well.
Yeah, the look and feel is brilliant. When they do, they've even almost kind of shot it in a graphic novel style. So you get a lot of nice lingering shots that almost mirror a page on the in the old days when we had a book to look at.
I think
you can actually see that.
Pictures
I can remember
on
the
paper.
image. I can remember the image of the graphic novel, and then you look at the screen,
Like
and
a
it's
frame
almost
by
exactly
frame
the same.
ones, yeah.
I think one of the things that really helped as well is that where it was done on Netflix, the episode lengths aren't dictated. So an episode doesn't have to be an hour, doesn't have to be 50 minutes. And actually it plays into the lengths of the chapters.
Because some of are a little bit longer or shorter, aren't they?
So there's no padding or unnecessary padding that you get in some shows. But yeah, I really liked it. There were some deviations away from the source material, nothing major. I think the casting was brilliant. Effects, not that they're the be all and end all anyway, but they were cool. And I really enjoyed watching it. I binge watched it in a couple of nights.
Yeah.
See, I don't have that luxury anymore with 2 kids under the age of 3. It's virtually impossible. One that refuses to go to bed as well.
But yeah, it's a great series. I mean, one of my criticisms, I thought, this is only nitpicking, but some of the bits when they went to Hal looked a little bit tacky at times. But then, when you've got a budget, there's always somewhere, and that's me. That's
You've got to sacrifice somewhere.
That's me nitpicking. That's not me. It was still good. It wasn't like. It wasn't like Power Rangers. It was still, it wasn't like that sort of budget. It was clearly, it was still good, but like compared to some of the other things they did, that bit kind of like looking over and all the people was just looked a bit computer gamey to me. But that's me being picky,
Pedantic.
And my only other issue is we've got to wait a whole year for the next one now, or longer.
Probably longer, because it feels like that was in production for a good couple of years.
Well, that was that got shut down through COVID loads of times.
Yeah, good point.
Because that was filming during COVID.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, so we're all agreed then that
big thumbs up.
Well, for me, I'm enjoying Sandman. You two enjoyed Sandman. So, Paul, what about you? Anything you've been watching?
So the only other thing that I want to talk about this week is the Black Phone with Ethan Hawke.
Well, I've seen this popping up a lot, but I haven't watched it
I think
yet.
this is just available to rent or premium rental or whatever it is. So this is about a spate of child abductions in America. No surprise that Ethan Hawke's the bad guy. You kind of see him from the get go. Yes, he's wearing a mask, but it's him. And the last kid he kidnaps and imprisoned in his cellar. starts getting phone calls from a phone that is basically cut off, and the people that are calling him are the dead victims that try and help him and give him clues on how to escape. It's all right. I really like Ethan Hawke in it. I like what he's done over the last few years with some of the roles that he's taken on. You know, we've spoken about some of the last roles. And
he's definitely got a new agent in the last few years, hasn't he?
Yeah, the more popular roles as opposed to more of the independent film that he went out to do over the last 25 years. So he's come back to do what would be described as more mainstream parts as well. It's not going to rock anyone's world, I think, but again, compared to a lot of the other stuff out there at the moment, it is a bit different. Probably be a 7 out of 10.
Cool. Yeah,
Right.
I reckon he's got his daughter's agent now.
It might be, yeah.
Because he's good in Moon Knight. He's done that. Was he in the original? What's it called? The Purge.
Don't know.
I don't remember him in that.
Was he the family?
I can't remember.
You know, and spoilers. You know, the husband gets killed at the end, doesn't he? And then it's just the wife left.
Yeah, I don't
know if it's him or not. I have to look that up. But it was someone like him. If it wasn't, I was just trying to think. Yeah, but yeah, I reckon his daughter got Stranger Things and got a good agent. He's like, Dad, get my agent. And now he's on everything again. But fair play to him.
That's right. Time for the spotlight. And this week, as we said in the opening, the spotlight is on the 1988 film Heathers.
The 1988 classic. Sorry.
Okay. That kind of gives away what Damien's So written by Daniel Waters and directed by Michael Lehmann, Heathers is yet another box office bomb that found its audience thanks to the home video market.
God bless home videos.
People said it was too dark to be a success. And time has proven them wrong, as over those subsequent years, Heather's grown into a cult classic of its own, as Damien alluded to. It should be noted that a lot of big names of the time wanted nothing to do with Heathers due to its dark subject matter.
And I do have to say this, but in rewatching it, I had forgotten how dark it does get. I don't know if that's with modern eyes on it now, with all the things that do go on in American schools nowadays, or what, you know, and maybe I was a bit more naive or something in the olden days, but the olden days. But
I was probably just too busy focusing on the fact that Winona Ryder was in it.
Yeah. Giggity. But yeah, sorry, carry on.
So with the casting then, so Veronica was nearly played by Justine Bateman and Jennifer Connelly, but Winona Ryder, who was 16 at the time of filming, badly wanted the part. She begged Waters to cast her and offered to work for free. Waters at first did not want to think Ryder did not think Ryder was pretty enough. But Ryder herself commented that at the time I didn't look that different from my character in Beetlejuice. I was very pale, I had black dyed hair. So she went to Macy's at Beverly Center to have a makeover.
Well, we all need a makeover sometimes. The same week Winona Ryder received the script, a student from her high school sadly committed suicide, which inspired her even more to do the film. And then she got into an argument with her agent, who was so against her pursuing the role that she got down on her hands and knees and begged Ryder to not take it, warning her that it would ruin her career. Eventually, obviously, she was given the role.
JD at one point was hoped to be Brad Pitt, but he was rejected after they heard him read for the part. Jim Carrey, Judd Nelson, Johnny Depp and Jason Bateman were also considered for the role of JD.
So on that Brad Pitt, I'd read somewhere that they just thought he was too nice.
Oh,
you know,
nice Brad.
Had he done Cutting Class by this point?
Yeah, but I think we're the only people that's seen it at this point. If you do need to check out the Brad Pitt Roddy McDowall classic, Cutting Class, I believe there is an article on it on cultfaction.com.
It's a classic.
It very much is. But how weird would that have been if you had Jason and Justine Bateman playing lovers?
Yeah.
I know it's acting, but
even so.
Yeah.
Would have given it a different turn to the film.
Certainly would.
Definitely added to the weirdness.
Anyway, so Slater reports that throwing a big tantrum and tossing his script in the trash after assuming he'd bombed his audition, but eventually he was signed to play JD, stating later that he channeled Jack Nicholson in the film. I think he more than channeled. Yeah.
Did he just play Jack Nicholson?
Trying desperately to be Jack Nicholson.
I don't think we've got it down here, but I think he also, a few years later, sent Jack Nicholson a copy of the movie with a letter saying, you know, kind of how much of a fan of Jack Nicholson he is and how he channeled, or in his words, channeled Jack Nicholson to get the part and play the role, and he got no response.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by that.
To this day, Jack Nicholson still doesn't know who Christian Slater is. Heather Graham even turned up for the film, 17 at the time. She was offered the part of Heather Chandler, but she turned it down in the end due to the fact that her parents said no. They went, no, it's really bad, it's too dark, you can't do it.
Bit weird though, isn't it? That disapproved of her doing this role, but didn't have any issue with some of the other choices that she made.
She's a bit older.
She was older by that point. What was Boogie Nights?
She's still 17 at this point.
What was Boogie Nights? 97?
Yeah, but it was
later than that.
Was it?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Don't Google it now. We'll come back to it.
I'm sure it was later than that, or maybe it wasn't. But the thing is, she's looked the same age for about 30 years, so. You know, she's just got a way of being her. It's caught up with her now. If you watch those, what they called, where they go on stag do's and can't remember anything, hangovers.
Oh, I've only
in the Hangover movies, it's caught up with her a little bit now, poor old Heather. But she's done well. Kim Walker, who was dating Slater at the time, was also offered the role instead. Sorry.
Cool.
So just whilst we're still on Slater and Kim Walker, apparently, according to Slater, again, he dumped Kim so that he could start dating Winona Ryder. Yeah, Winona Ryder states she has no recollection of ever dating Christian Slater. So
that doesn't mean it didn't happen.
No, that's true. Yeah,
she doesn't remember much of her life. She was in Beetlejuice and woke up in Stranger Things. That's basically.
Yeah. And somewhere in between, she got done for shoplifting.
And appeared in Soul Asylum videos.
Yeah.
Lisanne Falk, who was 23 years old at the time, lied and said she was in the late teens during the audition. It was only after she was cast that she revealed her true age.
So this, how was casting done in those days? Because everyone's lying their asses off about they're either older, younger, whatever. Yeah, I've done this. No, I haven't. Yeah, I have.
Well, the internet obviously didn't exist. There wasn't that many ways of checking these things, I guess. So if you turned up and said, I'm 17, how can they check?
No, I suppose so. And if parents are pushing you through as well, and
like you said last week, CRB and all that stuff didn't exist.
Yeah, that's true.
Hence why psychologists could go to frat parties.
Damn right.
So a 17-year-old Shannen Doherty wanted the role of Veronica, but by that point, Ryder had already been cast, so the producers asked her to audition for Heather Chandler. But Doherty was still more interested in playing Heather Duke, and ended up giving an amazing reading as Duke, which secured her the part. The producers wanted her to dye her hair blonde to match the other Heathers, but she refused and compromised and dyed her hair red instead. Later during the production, Shannen Doherty confronted a married crew member who was having an affair with an underage extra. According to Doherty, this was the first time anyone had actually called her a bitch.
I don't know whether I believe that.
Yeah, certainly not the last.
Cool. Okay.
Because this would have been pre-90210 at this point.
I think so.
Yeah.
Right. So, what are our memories of Heathers?
Shall I go? I'll go. So, for me, same as I think I've said this so many times now when we did these films, it's one of those Sky Movies staples that, I certainly didn't go to the cinema to see it. It was heavily rotated on Sky Movies. Even to the point where I, at one point, would be able to recycle. What's the word? Not recycle. Recite. Thank you. I could recite the actual trailer word for word. It was that often. But watching it this week, I'd forgotten how much I fucking love this film.
It's weird seeing you so invigorized and energized about speaking about a film.
He likes something.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a thing for Winona Ryder.
Really?
You never mentioned it.
Before I'd seen Heathers. But, yeah.
Yeah, Damien was a bit of a fanboy. And that was probably one of my memories. But because I remember you going on about her a lot. And I remember you going on about anything she was in a lot. I don't remember, the time and place that I first watched it. I know that I must have watched it, and if nothing else, just so I could talk to you for a couple of years.
Damien, you made me watch it.
And yeah, I remember. I remembered a lot of the plot. Again, like you said, Brett, I don't remember how dark it was.
Yeah.
And I don't remember a lot of the stuff. The basic plot, pretty much. The kind of Mean Girls type bit, and the trying to get revenge. But yeah, I didn't realize. Just how dark it could
But
get.
I think back then it was sort of over the top dark humour. I think it's just the fact that maybe the world's got a bit darker since that the world's caught up with the dark humour in it now.
Yeah.
Like we were saying before about some of the other teen films about how watching them as an adult, maybe we haven't got the same optimism we did when we watched them when we were 15, 16. This one's almost like the other way around. What was funny then is now actually turned out to be the world's turned into that.
Yeah.
So it's
not just that as well, but it's comedy as well. Where in this day and age it's almost bad to be dark, and whether that's the themes that are talked about and discussed about and shown in Heathers, or even comedy having to be politically correct, otherwise the comedian's crucified on Twitter.
I don't think you can say crucified anymore either. Yeah, it's definitely got a Stepford vibe to it, like the original like Stepford Wives, Stepford Children thing, and that kind of that dark humour. It's still, it's a genuine script in its own right, but it's got that dark humour hanging over it of kind of, there is a message there. It is trying to say something, but in a very, very dark way. But like we say, now it's, the darkness has become the norm.
Yeah. Okay, so let's walk through the plot. Obviously, we'll chip in with comments of what we thought about the relevant scenes, and with any tidbits of information as we go through. So, year is 1989. We are at Westerborough High School in Sherwood. I always want to say Sherwood, Illinois, but Sherwood, Ohio. Veronica Sawyer, played by Winona Ryder, is part of a popular but feared clique, along with three other wealthy and beautiful girls with the same first name: Heather Duke, played by Shannen Doherty, Heather McNamara, Lisanne Falk, and the school's ruthless queen bee, Heather Chandler, played by Kim Walker. The four girls are known to play croquet in Veronica's backyard. Tired of the clique abusing its power and bullying others, Veronica longs for her old life with her kinder but less popular friends. She becomes fascinated with Jason, aka J.D. Dean, played by Christian Slater, who's a new student and a rebellious Jack Nicholson type outsider. After he pulls a gun out in the middle of the school hall and fires blanks to scare bullies. He pulls out a gun and fires blanks and gets a slap on the wrist.
I don't even think he's even suspended, is he?
No, not at all.
Oh, you kids and your crazy ways.
Well, it's like we had that. We were the same conversation with Breakfast Club, didn't we? That took a flare gun to school and ended up just getting a Saturday detention.
They wouldn't be able to do that now with all the metal detectors they've got in American schools.
But yeah, so that's our first introduction to JD, and I think I remember going around a lot just saying greetings and salutations to basically anyone.
Yeah, it rings a bell.
They really pushed the croquet thing, though, didn't they? Like all the posters.
Yeah, but I think
they'd have
it's
the mallets.
Is it a
class? Is that what they were going for?
It's a classes thing. I think that's what that's about. It's because you don't see, for want of a better term, you don't see poor people playing croquet. It is considered an aristocratic, posh sport, isn't it?
And I think the other thing.
But you've also got the connotations a little bit with Alice in Wonderland, because that's what they're playing.
Off with their heads, isn't it?
Yeah. So Queen maybe that might be where that sort of, because obviously the first sequence is the dream sequence, isn't it? So maybe that's just set the tone of the film.
I think the other thing with Heathers, which is slightly different to some of the other ones, is this is very much set in the 80s. You couldn't take this film and say, oh, that could be 90s or noughties. Where as soon as you see their costumes, the shoulder pads, the hair, this is very much an homage to that kind of look in the 80s that has died a death. I know.
Some of it's coming back.
I know. Fashion has a way of going in cycles, but with the 80s and the weird socks that tried to make a comeback a few years ago, hopefully most of the fashion trends won't come back.
I'm waiting for pop swatches to come back.
A swatch. So are the Heathers, is this the first Mean Girls group in popular cinema? I say Mean Girls, 'cause obviously that came later. But you know, like that, the Bitch Girls.
I think it's unlikely, but I can't think of
in
any
the
examples.
popular team. I'm sure there have been films. There's like teenage gang movies in the 50s, 60s. But is this the popular school, high school kind of thing? Are they?
It could be the first to focus on them, but I think
the prototype.
Well, I mean, all the 80s. So all your Pretty in Pinks, your 16 Candles, they all had those in them.
That's what I mean, but they were never the focus.
That's what I mean. So this is the
yeah.
first focus of them, because normally it's, as we said
The
last
jocks.
week, you're focusing on the nerd
Yeah.
coming out and winning. So
it's normally nerds versus jocks.
Exactly.
Isn't it?
So
Yeah.
they always encounter the mean girls, but in this case, it's that's what we're actually focusing on.
And the spotlight is very much on Heathers.
Exactly.
Okay, then, so what happens next?
So Veronica attends a frat party with Heather Chandler, where she refuses to have sex with one of the members and drunkenly vomits on Chandler. In retaliation, Chandler vows to destroy her reputation. Later that night, JD shows up by surprise at Veronica's house, and the two get it on. They express to each other their mutual hatred for Chandler's tyranny. The next morning, Veronica and JD break into Chandler's house, planning to get revenge by using a fake hangover cure to make Chandler vomit. JD pours drain cleaner into a mug, but Veronica dismisses him, thinking he's just playing a mean joke. She mixes the orange juice and milk together instead. What she doesn't realise is she accidentally picks up the drain cleaner and takes it into Chandler's room. JD spots this, but chooses to keep quiet. He serves Chandler the drain cleaner, killing her outright. Veronica panics, and JD urges her to forge a dramatic suicide note in Chandler's handwriting. The school community regard Chandler's apparent suicide as a tragic decision made by a troubled teenager. This makes her even more popular and worshipped to death than she was in life. So we already get the they plant the seed of the fact that she can copy anyone's handwriting in the cafeteria scene, don't they? Which we don't really. There's not a lot that happens there, but because doesn't she writes a note on behalf of one of the jocks.
That's right.
To Dump Truck. I've
Yeah.
forgotten the first name now. It's not Dump Truck's not even a name, but whatever they call it.
There's a bit of her in a minute where it's got
It's,
the name. Yeah, it is Dump Truck. Yeah, 'cause
something Dump Truck.
she's the ongoing victim of the bullies.
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
So they plant the seed that she's able to copy anyone's handwriting.
Martha.
That's it, Martha Dump Truck. So I remember watching this for the first time, and obviously not knowing how dark the film was going. It was quite shocking that they literally offer in the first 25 minutes or so.
Yep.
You do genuinely think that it's just going to be a prank, and it's all
There's a
about
little bit of me that thinks
humiliation.
If I were drinking something that someone's given me, I might take a sip first,
Yeah.
and then realise it is actually drain cleaner, as opposed to just downing the whole glass. But hey,
The arrogance of youth.
that would kind of ruin the rest of the film if she actually smelt it and spotted it.
No, definitely.
So she falls through the coffee table, doesn't she?
Yeah.
If I remember rightly. Yeah. I remember rightly, literally about 3 days ago I watched this film. But,
This
so
week.
that's what I say. It's quite shocking. It jolts you into thinking, oh, hang on, what's going on here then? This isn't the teen comedy that you're expecting to be watching.
And it's clever as well because it's almost deconstructing the teen movie completely, because you've got like the couple get together at the beginning and have sex. That's normally the moving bit 3/4 of the way through by the end to some Peter Gabriel shit. But or whatever, but that's done in like the first half an hour, 20 minutes.
And the whole film's normally about how the underdog's going to rise up.
Yeah, and
then
they're
take
already
them
doing
on.
it, and
Yeah.
it's almost we've got this Columbo-like dramatic irony where we know what's going on and we can see and we know who the killers are. We know the whole thing, whereas no one else does.
Yeah.
And it puts like an unhealthy responsibility on the audience as we see this unfold, because we're more concerned now. We're more worried. It's not just we're not just watching this as a.
Are we though? Are we concerned, or do we find ourselves rooting for Veronica?
Well,
and
that's where the
point,
darkness creeps in. At this point, I think it's a bit of concern because
No. At
the
this
shock
point,
of
I'm
it.
starting to root for them because I think, Christian Slater's just like, trying to help her out, make her a bit popular. That was, that was a nasty thing to
It's
do.
an extreme way of doing it.
But did he actually think she was going to go through and drink it? Was it a bit of a prank?
Prank gone wrong type thing, yeah. But it sets up the fact that they're willing to sort of push through it and not take responsibility for their actions. And it's just a weird, like, for most things that you would expect to happen in the film, it kind of gives it away free in the first half an hour or so. And for most formulas at the time, this would have been quite a groundbreaking thing to do, and I guess in a way that creates more anticipation in the audience because we don't know what's going to happen now. Because are they going to get together or not? Or no, they have got together. And they've murdered someone together. It's almost Bonnie and Clyde, Mickey and Mallory, like, but before them.
Well, not before Bonnie and Clyde.
But, yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah. So we get all that going on then. But so while that's happening, we've got Heather Duke using the attention surrounding Heather Chandler's death to sort of play the sympathy card and sort of grow her popularity to become the clique's new leader. And then at Heather Chandler's funeral, Heather McNamara. After Chandler's funeral, Heather McNamara convinces Veronica to go with her, Kurt and Ram on a double date. What teen movie doesn't have a double date in it at some point? So JD finds the 4 teens that evening in a field, and Veronica leaves with him as Kurt passes out, and Ram and Heather are having sex somewhere. Is that why it's called Ram?
Could be.
Anyway, the following day, the boys spread a false rumour about Veronica performing oral sex on them and, try to ruin her reputation. Everyone's laughing and picking on her.
Sniggering
and
and
I can't believe you've done that. The usual thing. So JD proposes that he and Veronica lure the boys into the woods, shoot them with tranquilizers, and humiliate them by staging the scene to look like their lovers participating in a suicide pact.
Yeah.
Which is, when you want to get someone back, that's what you do.
Yeah, and I like the fact that, she says, I'll do the 2 of you at dawn. It's like, my God, who's going to get up at that, 5 a.m.? Jesus.
But at that age,
Yeah. Probably just getting
just
in.
saying.
Straight through crew.
We were just getting in at that point, so it was easy. But yeah, so, you get...
Couple of Pro Plus back out again.
You get your teen movie staples. You get your reputation in the false rumours. You get your double date. You get the good boyfriend and the evil jock who's making stuff up and all that. But again, with a slight twist on it.
And plus, it doesn't dwell on that. It doesn't patronise the audience. It assumes the connotations of all these conversations. It doesn't need. I mean, Veronica's not even that necessarily that pissed off about it. It's more. It just goes straight to, well, I'm going to get my revenge on them. Rather than, with your John Hughes type film or that kind of
there'd be a
drama.
music moral
Exactly, there'd be a moral and maybe even a montage for like 2 minutes of, as you say, a Peter Gabriel or something song in the background and how she's close to committing suicide because of it. But no, it's literally 5 minutes later.
Bitch is gonna pay.
Yeah.
Okay, so. Lads meet up with her in the morning, and obviously it's the pair of them there waiting with a gun, with blanks. But JD shoots Ram. Veronica has shot Mrs. Kurt, who runs away. JD chases Kurt back towards... Well, hold on. So first of all, JD manages to keep up with a high school American football jock.
Well, we don't know JD's background.
Yeah, but I was impressed by this. So
Yeah, but so the high school jock's barefoot. He's not.
true.
And adrenaline. You can lift a car with adrenaline.
I was just impressed that he managed to keep up. So JD chases Kurt back towards Veronica, realizing that the bullets are in fact lethal. Fatally shoots him in a panic. JD and Veronica are nearly caught by the police, but they end up getting into the station wagon and start making out and pretending that they're there all along and had nothing to do it. And the cops fall for it. Don't even bother to question them in case they see anyone running past. Great old American police.
Yeah.
At the funeral, the boys are made into martyrs to homophobia. And the growing increasingly disturbed by JD's behaviour, Veronica breaks up with him. Yeah, so initially it was a shock that the boys were homosexual, even though they weren't, and then they have them lying out in the coffins in the American football garb.
They literally both got their helmets on. Always makes me chuckle.
Them holding hands as well. They left. No, is that when they
they're
leave
in
the bodies
separate
holding?
coffins.
No, when they do the bodies, they're holding hands, aren't they?
I don't remember.
When he shoots, because that's like how they're found with the note, like they died together.
But the dad does a touching speech.
Yeah, my something like my son was a big gay homo or something, and I love him.
But it is this. Again, it's that black comedy of it, because especially at that time in world history, that is like quite a cutting speech. Because although it is a dark comedy, but those viewpoints are probably still out there now. Don't get me wrong, but it's honest. Is that the word I'm looking for?
That's
what makes it a bit more shocking.
We've said it before when we did, I think it was Repo Man, but this is the kind of film that holds the mirror back out to the audience that's watching it. So, if you want to get really pretentious about it, this is like the film is saying, don't, if your son is gay, don't dismiss it, don't disown him, because he's going to die. You'll regret it if he dies.
Regret it. Oh no, definitely. And that's what made it more shocking for me seeing that back, because I'd totally forgotten that bit.
Okay, so a little while after the funeral, JD and being dumped by Veronica, JD blackmails Heather Duke into getting every student to sign a petition that, unbeknownst to her, is intended to act as a mass suicide note. So the petition, we only see what he tells Heather, don't we? Which is, I read in a teen magazine that Big Fun want to play a benefit concert because they've got a song out called Teenage Suicide Don't Do It, or something like that. Yeah. So he pretends that the petition is to get Big Fun to play at the high school, but then we find out later that everywhere he's kind of said different things to anyone to sign it, so that they're going to sign it willingly, because I can't imagine everyone's going to want Big Fun to be playing it there.
I don't think it's the UK.
I know it's not, but
I thought that
they played the song, and it's like, I don't think every high school student is going to want to listen to that song. Anyway, so he gets them to sign a petition that, unbeknownst to her, is intended to act as a mass suicide note. He then gives her a red scrunchie that Chandler had worn, signifying her new power over the school.
So the
Meanwhile,
red scrunchie is top dog, isn't it?
Yeah, it seems to be
it's like the steam press on Cell Block H.
Yeah, your patch.
Yeah.
So meanwhile, Dartha Dump Truck Dunstock, played by Carrie Lynn, a frequent target of bullying, pins a suicide note to her chest and walks out into oncoming traffic. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, for her, she survives, but is badly injured and mocked by her peers for attempting to copy all the cool kids. Later, McNamara calls a radio show to discuss her depression. Duke tells the entire school about the radio call the next day, and McNamara is bullied. McNamara attempts suicide by overdosing in the girls' bathroom, but as luck would have it, Veronica intervenes and snatches the tablets out of her hand and gives her a little pep talk.
Yeah. How dark, though. The kid tries to kill herself, and they're like, oh, you're just doing that to be like the cool kids.
Yes. Yeah. But that's the thing. That's the whole theme of the film, is that everything's superficial. No one cares about anyone. Whatever you're doing is just either attention seeking or trying to climb the ladder. That's what I take away from the tone and the feel of the film.
Yeah.
No, definitely. But again, it just shows how all those steps, and like we mentioned about Dump Truck earlier on, the sort of background character just being bullied in the background through the whole film, and then these things happen, and it's just, I don't know, it's just.
Well,
You know,
without getting too,
it's
this is a Gen
impactful.
X film. This is a full-on.
Oh yeah, it's
know.
impactful. I'm not knocking it by any means. I'm just, just again. I think when I was younger, I was probably laughing at that.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, oh my god.
I was laughing.
I was laughing last week or the other day, but
Because it's done in a funny way.
It's done in a funny way, but it's also.
But that's the black humour of it,
Our
isn't
sensitivities are different now.
Yeah. Again, it was just one of those bits I'd kind of forgotten about, and
Oh, that was most of the film for me.
no, but it just when I saw it, it was like it was impactful. Not as impactful as the car, but it was impactful. So, so Veronica's intervened, and then she goes home, and her parents say that JD stopped by to tell them he was worried she would attempt suicide. He leaves a note revealing he can successfully imitate her handwriting, and a Barbie doll is hanging in her room. So it's almost like a taste of her own medicine there, because she was doing the writing, but he can do it too.
See, I think this is probably the first real point where we see sinister JD.
Yeah, the volume's starting to be turned up now.
Yeah.
He's spiteful, he's jealous because she split up with him, and now he's...
And he really has got a bit of a screw loose.
Yeah.
Now, could I bring this up? What was going on with him and his dad?
Yeah, because we don't really have a lot of that in the plot details, do we? But so we've had that scene where, they've got that weird relationship, role reversal. How was your day at work, son? And it was okay, Dad. But it's actually JD's the one calling him son, and vice versa. I mean, I don't know if it's revealed yet at this point, or maybe later, that basically his mum committed suicide by going into the building that the dad was demolishing for whatever reason he was demolishing the building for, to put a new development in. So, because he says that his last memory of his mum is her waving from the window just before the explosion went off. So, I don't know whether it's actually explicitly stated she committed suicide, or whether the dad killed her or not.
Well,
I think it's suicide. I think.
But was she waving like bye, or was it help?
Yeah, exactly. I can't remember now if it's explicitly said one way or the other.
It's not stated.
So that's what we see. So he's got a dysfunctional relationship with his dad, although it doesn't seem like his dad is necessarily uncaring. We don't get that vibe per se, or it's not overtly stated like you'd see in a lot of films. But it is almost, you do get that kind of, the dad isn't necessarily that nurturing either.
Yeah,
it's almost the kind of the man up kid kind of dad, rather than the other way around. So yeah, he's got a very dysfunctional, weird relationship with his dad. His dad is just obviously more interested in making money and destroying buildings than he is what his son's getting up to.
Yeah, no, definitely some weird stuff there. And so this then leads on to JD breaking into Veronica's house with a plan to kill Heather Duke. But the murder is revealed to be a dream sequence, and suddenly, Veronica realizes that JD has planned to kill her. So the best way around that is to fake your own suicide, which she does. And then JD finds her, and assuming she's dead, gives this big monologue revealing his plan to blow up the school pep rally and make it look like a mass suicide.
And he would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for those pesky kids.
And that's about the one cliche in the whole film where, they give away the whole plan.
Yeah.
But if he just kept quiet, he would have done it. But hey, it works. And again, the whole dramatic irony of us knowing everything has built up to this point anyway, so we want someone else to know, because we've been carrying this for like 70 minutes now as an audience. But yeah.
Cool. So the next day, Veronica confronts JD in the boiler room as he's starting to plant dynamite, as you do. She shoots him, and
as you do,
his switchblade cuts the wires to the detonator. Veronica goes outside, and JD magically manages to follow her with the bomb strapped now to his chest. He offers a personal eulogy and detonates the bomb, killing himself. As students and faculty rush outside to see what happened, Veronica walks back inside, dirty and disheveled from the explosion. She approaches Heather Duke, takes back the red scrunchie, and asserts that she's no longer in charge. Veronica then invites Martha to spend prom night watching movies together as Duke looks on.
Dun, dun, dun.
Roll credits. Not our credits, obviously.
Yeah. Again, a very dramatic ending. You do get a sense that, he's, the craziness does turn up on old JD. And the fact that
He does try and go Jack Nicholson, doesn't he?
He does.
There's
a little bit, yeah. He's definitely watched The Shining at this point.
Yeah.
But,
Although, weirdly enough, he did then go on to play Jack Nicholson's character in One Flew Over the Cuckoo Nest for the theatre production.
Yeah.
So, swings and roundabouts.
Well,
It worked out for him.
But, yeah. The ending, to me, was the weakest bit.
Yeah, it does. It does kind of. It's a bit quick and it's a bit flat.
Because it's sort of built up and we can see it going on, like you say, with what he's trying to get up on the sign. He's up to something. And then it's like, yeah, here's the plan. Here's what it is. I'm going to go and do it now. Don't do it. I am going to. No, you're not. Oh, you're dead. And it's kind of, I don't know.
I think what it needs. So his eulogy, his sort of rant at the end, needed more meat to the bones to explain why he is like he is. So we've said about the dad. We've said we obviously know that he's kind of moved around, been pushed from pillar to post through high
but again,
school.
That's us reading between the lines.
No,
isn't
he
it?
does. But he does say that he's gone. I think when he buys her a slushie and whatever it is, the Circle K. It's not Circle K, but he's like every town's got a Circle K, and he kind of mentions about 3 or 4 states that he's lived in the last couple of years. So a lot of it is inferred, but I think what that needed at the end was a longer, more meaty eulogy.
Yeah, he needed like a breakdown rant, didn't he?
Yeah.
Sort of at the end.
Why
Yeah.
he's
It was
done what he's
almost a bit cartoony as well. The fact that it's dynamite everywhere.
Yeah,
It's
she's
something
just
like a
got
Wile E.
she's got
Coyote
like
or
some soot
something.
on her face
Yeah.
and her hair's a little bit dishevelled. But then it is a comedy.
Yeah,
It is, the tone is set at the beginning with the dream sequence where she's buried in a hole and they're hitting her with a croquet ball. So you're right, it is cartoony, but it does fit with the with the film. It's not jarring as if they just suddenly randomly shoved that in at the end. But yeah, could have definitely done with a more
Poignant.
a more meaty explanation for
I
his
just wanted
behaviour.
more of a breakdown of him at the end. Like a proper.
What, blowing up isn't enough of them?
No. Before that, like you say, I just want if he's going to go skits out, let's go proper skits out. Let's be ranting, raving, screaming, running around with an axe. Maybe put a bit for a wall or a door.
But then that's maybe just because we've seen that in so many films since. We've seen the
no, I think I
characters
always thought that
lose
then.
their shit. No, I'm not.
But yeah, no, I know what you mean though. But yeah, it's still a good film. Just that sort of, for all the darkness and sort of sleight of hand of what's going on, and it just kind of walks through the end.
Yeah. Or rushes through the end.
Yeah.
Really. Cool.
But,
Okay.
yeah.
So that's the plot. I'm sorry, I'm taking over, Paul. It's your,
No,
it's your
fine.
show tonight.
No, it's fine. So, did we want to talk about the legacy before we talk about our...
Yeah. Yeah, let's do that.
Okay then. So Heathers was released in March 1989 with New World Pictures. Who brought it out, were going bankrupt at the time. It was considered a flop when it was released, earning $177.247 its opening weekend. Ultimately grossed $1.1 million across the US in 5 weeks. So it made 1.1, but it cost $3 million to make. So it only got a third of its money back at the box office. But obviously it did grow in cult status thanks to VHS rental stores.
Absolutely.
Which is where we all grew up.
Yeah, I did mean to look to see what it was sort of pitched up against theatre-wise, in the cinemas, but I forgot all about it. But I can't think. So, 1989. Anyone think of what was around in March 1989? No. I can't think of something.
I remember reading. I don't think it got the full big screen. I don't think it was at every single cinema either. I think it was sort of.
Yeah, because this was a time when cinemas sort of more or less picked and choose what they show.
Yeah.
And obviously, there would have bound to have been some concern about teenage suicides and murder and drug use. So
this
it's
would
quite
have
possible
been an
that
art house cinema, probably, or something like that.
it would have been Harbour Lights for us.
Yeah.
Okay, so two of the cast members died at young ages, which is quite eerie because they prophesied in the script. So Jeremy Applegate, whose character Peter prays he will never commit suicide, shot himself in March 2000 at the age of 34. And Kim Walker, whose character Heather Chana asks, "Did you have a brain tumour for breakfast?" actually died of a brain tumour on March 6th, 2001, aged only 32. So there's a little bit of a creepy
It's
foreshadowing.
Yeah.
It's cursed. This film is cursed. I'm surprised Netflix haven't. No, it's not Netflix. Shudder haven't done a cursed film series on
give it time.
Yeah, you could shoehorn a Winona Ryder's shoplifting conviction in there. That's 3.
Yeah, in June 2009, Entertainment Weekly reported that Ryder had claimed that there would be a sequel to the film titled Heathers 2,
Obviously,
with Slater coming back as a kind of Obi-Wan character. However, Lehmann denied development of a sequel, saying, "Winona's been talking about this for years. She brings it up every once in a while. And Dan Waters and I will joke about it, but as far as I know, there's no script and no plans to do the sequel."
And then, this is where the big Heathers thing kicks off. In 2010, Heathers is adapted into a stage musical. Heathers the musical. It goes across LA and does really well. Runs through for a long period of time with many casts. Then it goes off Broadway, and even up to 2014, there are still Heather stage musicals going across Broadway and London and everywhere, and off West End. The last one closing, in fact, around 2019. So Heathers the musical is big business in the theatre. So what didn't work out in the cinema, I think more than made up for it theatre-wise.
yeah. I suppose the difference. Well, I don't know if it makes any difference, but the musical depicts her being accepted into the clique, doesn't it? I think. So whereas we're picking up
Where
in
she's
the
already
movie
in,
where
yeah.
she's already part of the clique and all friends and blah blah blah. The theatre production.
So you get a bit of a prequel as well.
Yeah, a bit of a preamble, maybe to explain why she's so disillusioned with being in the clique in the first place. Who knows?
Yeah.
To be fair, I've got no interest in seeing it. It's a musical, and I can't stand musicals. So.
And Winona Ryder's not in it.
And Winona Ryder's not in it, exactly. So we're going to talk about the TV series. Do we even want to mention that there's been a TV series?
Yeah, I mean, the TV series, they wanted to do big things with it. They spent some money on it, and there is a review of episode 1 at cultfaction.com when it was on. I mean, the clever bit, looking back at my review of the TV series, the opening, you get JD's backstory.
Okay.
And you open with it. And his mum is Shannen Doherty, or Doherty. She plays the mum. And she even, what made it worse is she's in the building, but because she was going through chemo at that time, she actually takes the wig off as the building, I think it catches fire in the TV show. And it kind of, so it was a nice touch to have someone from the original in it. And also the fact that she'd done that, because that was what she was going through. It was quite a big impact, and that was a really cool scene. And as my review says, then shit goes downhill real fast. Yeah, the full review's in there. I'll give you my verdict bit. It's got verdict 4 out of 10. Potential still remains to make this show mean something, but it needs a lot of work to shake off the caricature approach that reaches nobody. References fly thick and fast, but fail to register, and when a joke is funny, it is hammered home so much that it becomes cringeworthy. Anything this show wants to be has already been done back in 1999 by the TV show Popular. It needs to get back to what the movie did well, darkness, and use your source material to make a great show.
Okay. So, I mean, obviously, it not only does it sound like it was shit, but it was a kind of victim of outside circumstances, because there was a couple of shootings around the time as well, wasn't there? So, and obviously, even though he doesn't, this JD, at least in the film, doesn't go in and do a mass shooting, it's still the same kind of connotations. So
Yeah, and they were probably worried about kicking off a load of copycats.
yeah, exactly.
Cool. So there was a high school production of the musical that was a focus of Chapter 51, big fun episode of Riverdale, and again in 2021, the Heathers musical returned and carried on until February of this year. So again, it's still trying to make a comeback and still go in a musical form.
Also, just thinking about it, it's not on here. Didn't the guy in Erie, Indiana, basically rip off JD?
Yeah, I've been thinking that all the way through our
Yeah,
discussion.
so I'm going to mention that.
Yeah, so you got Christian Slater's channeled Jack Nicholson for that part, and then that dude in Erie, Indiana, is definitely channeled Christian Slater.
Yeah, they gave him grey hair, didn't they?
Yeah,
and even the voice
he's done a
as
bloody
well.
good job. To be fair, it's the best character in Indiana. I can never
Erie,
say
Indiana.
it. Indiana. That's
Cool.
a series worthy of an episode.
So, thoughts?
So I said at the top of this, I genuinely had forgotten how much I loved this film. It's been a long time since I watched it. It was one of those films that I'd watch quite often, at least like once a month in the early to mid 90s. Does it stand up? I think the themes certainly do stand up. You mentioned it. It's very 80s. The aesthetics of it
That's
don't
not necessarily a
stand
bad
up.
thing.
It's not a bad thing, but it's of its time.
You don't want to see what they did to it in the remake, in the TV series.
No, I don't. You're right. 100%. I don't. And hopefully, it never gets remade or rebooted or whatever you want to call it. So for me, rating wise, it's an 8, purely because the ending, as we've already mentioned, is a bit rushed. So that lets it down.
Yeah.
But the themes, the way it's done, the overall aesthetic of, not necessarily the aesthetic. What's the word I'm looking for? The tone. That's the word I want. The tone of it, I think, is just right. It's just that right side of dark humour.
Yeah.
There's no real silliness to it, which annoys me in a lot of films where the humour is just silly for the sake of it. There's no shoehorned butt gags or dick jokes in there. It's just dark. It probably shaped my attitude to most things for a long time. So, yeah, it's an 8 out of 10 for me.
Summers?
I'd go a solid 7. It's groundbreaking in its own ways. I think I would say it probably has more impact today. But then, like you were saying before, I think people will lose the context and the underlying sort of points and meaning in that dark comedy that it is. Because I think people could watch it and then go, "This is just a straight film about kids killing each other and do it."
Yeah.
It's like, no, it is, but it's not. But yeah, it's a solid. It'll keep its place in cinematic history for that. And, it's never going to get knocked out by anything else because what it does well, it does very, very well. And like you say, it just a little bit of air gets let out just at the end. I think that could have pushed it higher for me, but it's as good as I remember it being. It doesn't feel any different. As I say, it's always a bit more shocking now because I think I forgot how dark it was.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it a solid 7. I think it holds up well. As you said, Damien, it's got that nice blend of darkness and comedy at the same time. It's not over the top. It's even at the time, it's a bit of fresh air for everything else that was going on. It's not goofball. It's not quirky. I think it's written and delivered really well. I think Winona Ryder actually does a sterling job. Don't get me wrong, some of the other ones are deliberately larger than life. I think she plays it really well. And actually, one of the best scenes, which is bizarre to me, I just like it at the end where she's with Dump Truck, just sat there, just talking for a few minutes while the credits start rolling. I thought that was a really nice touch, actually. And you could still see them playing, in character. So yeah, I really like that. The ending kind of lost it for me a little bit, and I think if that was really done well with a big eulogy or a proper speech from Christian Slater, maybe explaining things a bit more, giving a bit of a better ending as opposed to what was done. But kept in with the tone of the film, so maybe that's why they pitched it that way. Don't know, but yeah, Solid 7. Okay, so that's it for our spotlight on Heathers. Don't forget to check us out on all of the different streaming services. We are pretty much everywhere. Sorry, were you going to say something then, Brett?
No.
Oh, okay. You looked like you were going to the
You look
mic.
like you've cut me off. I was going
Yeah, so we are on all the streaming services. Too many to mention, but the most popular ones. Obviously, we've spoken a lot about different reviews this week, and so go check them out on the mothership, Brett.
Cultfaction.com.
If you do have any views and comments, please do leave them on or reviews. Then please do leave them on the different streaming services. Any helps are really appreciated.
Rate and review us on Apple. That's what we're saying, basically.
Yeah. Apple Podcasts.
That's the one. Apple Podcasts, not just Apple. Don't get an apple and write on
Well,
it. That's
any
not
other
good.
podcasting, any reviews really do
Oh,
help.
have you ever written on a banana
Yeah.
with a biro? Oh, there's something so
None of it.
satisfying about writing on a banana with a biro.
Why would you?
Just do it.
Okay.
When you get home,
Well, I'm not going to do it when I get in.
well, at some point tomorrow,
Maybe tomorrow.
I haven't got any bananas.
get a banana and a biro, and it's just joyful.
This one for the kids out there.
Anyway,
Yeah.
sorry.
So yeah, review us.
And, if you do have any comments that you want to email us, then our email address, Brett,
Damien?
is cultfactionpodcast@mail.com. And am I the only one that remembers that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Fine.
Even though I'm the one that set it up, I can never remember.
My bit is cultfaction.com, and then someone else says the other bit.
Okay. So,
Oh, and I shout mothership.
We all have our roles.
excuse me for trying to branch out a bit. Okay, so again, thanks for listening to episode 68 of the Cult Faction podcast with the spotlight on Heathers. I've been Paul Hawkins.
Mothership, sorry. I've been Brett Summers.
I still am Damien Hicks.
And check us out next week when our spotlight will be on
Mall rats.
Ooh, snooch to the nooch.
Snoochie boochie.
Teenage suicide. Talk to it. Teenage suicide. She blew it. Teenage suicide. Talk to it. Teenage suicide.
Superman.
Jackanakanori. Coming in your ears.
Yep, you're going to get bit in the buggery.
Oh, how the Fane of Cawdor.
Bring Out the Dead. It's like Apocalypse Now. Or The Goonie.
So remember, it's 2, so don't shoot your load in the first.
Brett won't be able to if he's been bitten by a mosquito.
That's true.
I will. Haven't even started. Why do they never bite us on the penis?
Why would you want to be bitten on the penis? The swelling. Okay.
Not that I need it, I'm just saying. If you're going to get
You're going to
bit,
resort to anything to...
I didn't want to say anything. So
if you're going to get bit, then just
Please.
at least make it workable.
mosquitoes for her pleasure.